All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us today for this session on leveraging Google AI, practical applications for school leaders. Today, we're gonna go over specific tools put out by Google that utilize AI to help you be more productive. So I'm hoping to go over things that you can start using today, right now. Okay, so a little bit about myself. My name is Santi Karasami, and I started a company over 10 years ago called Project Recess. So a little bit about us. Shout out to anybody that remembers that HRTC training center up in Harlem back in the day. So we are an official Google for Education partner, but more than that, we are the main Google PD provider for New York City Public Schools, which is amazing. Very honored to support schools in New York City for that long. We're a contracted PD provider. So in addition to leading these citywide sessions for school leaders and teachers, we partner directly with schools to give you that tailored approach to leveraging these tools, as you can see with this customized AI guidance. So yes, happy to collaborate. I hope people, with this rise of AI, there's a lot of work to be done and a lot of partnerships to be made. So I'm hoping we could collaborate, soon. And one more thing, because of the work that we've been doing with Google and New York City Public Schools this year, 2 months ago, we were recognized as a Google Cloud Partner of the Year, specifically in ethical AI and data use. And again, we were recognized for that work, for the stuff that we're doing with New York City Public Schools. And Google works with hundreds, if not thousands, of partners. So to get that recognition, not only Project Recess, but like New York City, has been really, really fun and wonderful. So congrats to us, to everybody here. So I put up this question earlier. If you shared it in the chat, thank you so much. If you feel inclined, please name a work task that you think takes up way too much of your time. We had people say, okay, thank you. Inventory, observations. Carol, you're setting me up for something there. Observations. Someone said, like signing off on different documents. I don't know if AI can help with that yet. And I don't want to deal with AI, actual robots, schedule meetings, sending Outlook invites. Hey, Nick, good to see you again. All the PD planning, a lot of these things. Thank you so much. Yeah, please keep it coming. I love seeing what keeps people up at night, maybe in terms of like what's taking up way too much of your time. So let's keep these issues in mind, these challenges, when we look at these AI tools and how they can save time. Because to me, that's one of the main values of using an AI tool is getting that time back and what you can do with that time that you saved. All right, so let's continue. Um, Huge news. Gemini, which is Google's version of ChatGPT, Gemini and Notebook LM are now enabled for all New York City public school staff. Huge news, crazy, seismic shift. If we if we think about what happened 10 years ago, Google Classroom was introduced, right? 10 years ago, Google Classroom was introduced. Before Google Classroom, if anybody remembers using Blackboard, you remember that platform? Thumbs up, I guess, or like frown emoji in the chat if you remember that. What I love about bringing this up is that like whenever I mention Blackboard, everyone has like something critical to say, myself included. Exactly, Laura, thank you. Face palm. Blackboard was, in theory, it was great, but in practice, it was horrible. Then Google Classroom came along and changed everything, right? I think it's safe to say that Google Classroom changed how we teach, particularly online, particularly when COVID came around. It really saved all of us in terms of communication. So something like Google Classroom, seismic shift. I personally believe these AI tools, particularly Gemini, same potential for change within education. So let's explore some of these and hopefully we can, see and like how these things can support us. Blackboard feels like the dark ages. Definitely. Game of Thrones, that's a Game of Thrones app, Blackboard right over there. So this is the aspirational agenda. We have 40 minutes. I hope people like drinking from a fire hose. We're going to go through these things. So we're going to focus on, again, practical things that we can do, things we can do today using these tools through a school leader lens. All right. So the first thing that I want to discuss, and again, Katina's helping with the chat. Thank you so much for that. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat. I'm going to share the recording. I'm going to follow up with everyone and share these resources also. No need to take notes. You can sit back and enjoy the show. So the Gemini app, when people say the Gemini app, they're really talking about the website gemini.google.com. Okay, so that's the Gemini app. And as you can see, it looks like that on the right. What is Gemini? As I mentioned, it's essentially Google's version of ChatGPT. At this point in time, I would assume many people here have dabbled with ChatGPT, and other tools. Gemini is very similar, where you have this interface where you ask it a question and it gives you a very, very tailored response. So again, Gemini was enabled for every New York City school employee, which means it went through an incredibly rigorous, like, privacy audit. So when people ask, I use ChatGPT. Why should I use that? Why should I use Gemini? Well, number one, and I'm going to focus on this for most of the session. It's safe to use. So things aren't really free, right? When you're using I would venture to say everyone here has a personal Gmail account. It's no coincidence that when you are emailing somebody about vacation to Florida, you're now seeing ads for it, right? Like when you're using your personal Gmail account, all of that information is being used for training, advertising. With Gemini for your New York City account, none of that is being used for training on advertising or training their AI models. It's all completely safe. So anything that you were doing with your Google Docs or Google Slides in your, at schools accounts, you're putting in personally identifiable information. You could do that because all of that was safe. None of that was being shared with anyone. The same thing can be said with Gemini, and that is the game changer. That's huge. So you can put documents, information with student information, staff information in Gemini, and all of that is safe. So I just want to focus, like, there are other reasons why, like, I'm a fan of Gemini. All of our documents live in Google Drive. Why not have something that communicates with it seamlessly? But this is the huge plus right here, that it's safe. So I'm not going to get into the weeds with prompt engineering. Essentially, prompt engineering is how you talk to these AI tools. What's the best way to do that? There are different frameworks, but honestly, at the end of the day, when you're interacting with these AI tools, I think it comes down to context and conversation. You want to give it as much context as possible. You just don't want to say, "Hey, build a lesson plan." You want to talk about what grade, what subject, how many students, are there any students that have disabilities, etc. You want to give these things as much context so you can receive the most specific response that works for you. So context, and then when I say conversation, these are chat bots. You want to have a conversation with it. You are not going to get your perfect response right off the bat. You want to keep going back and forth with it. To me, just keep those things in mind and you'll be fine using Gemini or really any other AI tool. So just context and just keep on going with it. Okay. So now let's get into the exciting thing. Let's do some demos. So let's draft some content with Gemini using this Canvas tool. So I'm going to switch my tab. Let me know in the chat if you don't see me switching tabs. I've been known to do that. Um, so yeah, people
It's,
should see my Gemini screen right now. Did somebody say anything? Okay.
I said it was successful. You're okay.
Th-
We flipped the switch. The
Thank
switch.
you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. So what can we do with Gemini? I'm just gonna move my screen a little bit. Okay. So again, this is organized very similarly to ChatGPT. You have your window down here, where you can ask it a question. So you can say, like, hey, what's a good band name for a band made of all teachers? Okay, so this is your traditional chat. It's going to give you some playful, responses. The chalkboard chords, that's actually the grading curve. That's actually not bad. The lesson plan, these are all decent. Okay, so we've all seen this in some form, right? Again, whether using ChatGPT or Gemini, it works like this. I just want to shout out here on the top left, these are the different language models to use. For the most part, everyone's good using 2.0 Flash. If you believe you want something that has a little bit more advanced reasoning, maybe you're working with advanced math or complex tasks, you can try these different language models. And deep research, which I'm going to get into later, that thing's crazy. All right. I'm going to show what that looks like. But for this, and I'm going to be going back and forth here. So I want to shout out this Canvas button at the bottom, okay? And I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to start with this prompt, all right, which I have in this note because nobody needs to see me stumbling my typing over here. I'm in Gemini, the Gemini app. I'm going to paste this prompt in here. I'm the principal of PSO1, a middle school in Queens, to draft a concise and engaging email to parents announcing our upcoming virtual town hall meeting. I mentioned Canvas. I'm going to click on Canvas, and what that's going to do when I hit enter, it's going to split the screen into two, okay? And again, this is such a simple design choice. So previously, when I sent that prompt about a band name, it gave me it gave me this your traditional chat, like back and forth, like you would only see like this window on the left. What Canvas does when you click on that, and sometimes it does it automatically, it'll open up it'll open up this window into two. Okay. And so what's nice about that is that you see your content here on the right, and then you can still interact with Gemini here on the left. So again, I gave it a very simple prompt. I said I'm the principal of this school, draft a concise and engaging email to parents announcing our virtual town hall meeting. And so the beauty of this is now that you see this in this two window view, again, that's Canvas, you can go ahead and make updates. So maybe I want to say, make the tone warmer and include a joke. All right. So I'm going to hit enter. And again, the magic of this is that you see your interaction on one screen, and on the right, it changes in real time. And you see here that highlighted in blue, like what has been changed. All right. So this wasn't there before. I'm really excited to invite you to our upcoming show for some laughs. All right. The latest scoop. And then here's a joke in here. Why did the student bring a ladder to school? Because he wanted to get to high school. All right. We could modify that. We could ask it for a better joke or keep that. Katina, did you have a question? Okay.
Sorry,
Um,
I was looking for a reaction and I pressed enter. I was gonna laugh.
Thank
What
you.
up?
No worries, no worries. Um, so again, you get this. It's again a simple design choice. Broke the screen up into two, but I think it's incredibly helpful in terms of how your document evolves as you're interacting with Gemini. So you can even do translation. So I can say include a Spanish translation at the bottom. Hit enter again. So we wait. It's doing its thing. It's thinking. It's going to keep your original email at the top, and then at the bottom, it has your Spanish translation. So I want to stress, double check this, okay? AI systems are great. What they are 100% confident, but they are not always 100% accurate. When an AI tool gives you false information or something that is not, relevant to what you're asking, that's called a hallucination. These things hallucinate all the time. Um, I'm sure we've all heard horror stories of that. So all this to say, these tools can do a lot in terms of not starting from scratch. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have a really great base that you will then continue to edit and update and make sure that it has your voice, your view on it. But but again, it's a time saver because you don't have to start from scratch. And I'll say this, another reason why I really enjoy working with Gemini, as opposed to the other AI systems, there's an export to docs button here. So if I click that, it's going to open up a new tab. It took everything and it's going to create a Google Doc for me. So now I can share this with my other school leaders. I can share this with my other teachers. I can continue to iterate with this. All right. So again, that's the Canvas feature when you enable that. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to keep on going with this. All right. So let me switch back real quickly to the slides. So that's the prompt we used. We saw how Gemini using Canvas can give you this view, and I added these updates. All right. You can update to a completely different event. Export to docs. I went over that. Now, somebody put in the chat, what takes a long time? Teacher observations. I was playing around with this. I was leading a session with some principals the other day, and we're experimenting with this. Let's test this out. Teacher observations. Okay, so I'm going to create a new chat. All right, so I have on my screen. Okay, I'm going to upload some files. So there's a plus button here, okay? Um, and on my desktop, I have some Danielson notes, okay? Low inference notes. I'll start with this one. Low inference notes for high school English. And these low inference notes I got from, they're example notes from, there's like a training manual that I found on the at school's website that gave me an example of low inference notes. Okay, so it's here in PDF form. And then I can say, let me go back to my trusty notepad here. I'm the principal of PSO1. I will share with you my low inference observation notes for a high school English teacher. Okay, I'm just putting that in there. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'm going to click Canvas. So I uploaded my notes. I said I'm the principal of this. Creating mail merge. Okay. I see that in the chat. I'll see if I can. Yes, yes, and you all will get a recording of this for sure, for sure. So let me refresh this. Let me see what this looks like. Okay. So here are the low inference observation notes. Okay, so taken from the power of feedback. This is essentially what I updated. Okay, so it's just giving me what I sent. Okay, so these, just to give you an idea of what the notes look like, they look like this. Okay, so here's where the real magic comes in. Now evaluate these notes using the attached Danielson framework. So I have the framework, and this is the rubric that was given to me from school leaders that I work with. All right, let me put that prompt back in there. Now evaluate these notes using the attached Danielson framework. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I attached the framework in there. And again, this is just the first pass. You will, as a school leader, you will look at this and make sure that it makes sense. But that was quick. That was 5 seconds, if not less. It took my notes. It compared it to the Danielson framework. It's giving me what it thinks is an effective rating for these notes. It got me evidence in there. Okay, the teacher demonstrates solid knowledge, etc. And it's going through each domain, domain 1, 1E, 2, 2D, etc. Okay, and it has a summary. And so we can take this even further. We can take this even further, include next steps for improvement for each domain. All right, so I'm gonna paste that in there because that's not in there right now. As we can see, the magic of AI analyzing these documents in this view, it's thinking, it's doing its thing, and then okay, so there you go. Next steps for improvement, continue to deepen content knowledge by exploring recent scholarship. Okay, it has it. Okay, so again, in terms of saving time, can you upload a template? Anna, thank you. At this moment, you can upload a template as a document, but it doesn't work as well. A lot of this is trial and error. So I have a template that I found that most principals use for this. Um, but it just didn't do it as well as I wanted to. But the thing is, these tools improve all the time, like by the week. So there might be a point where you can upload a template and it'll populate it. But I think right now, the best iteration of streamlining this process of observations is just kind of doing it like this. So you could export to docs, and then you would just copy and paste this into the template that you have, or like that like NiceNet website where you have to do your observations. You can just copy this, and again, making sure that you've read through it and make sure that it makes sense, and then you would copy and paste that into whatever template you want. So yes, you could like add a file and upload a file and say, hey, I want you to organize this, in regard to this template, but I don't think it's there yet. But who knows? You can check next week. Maybe it will be. But I think when I showed this to principals that I worked with earlier this week, their eyes lit up because this is a way to help like streamline your process of doing observations. Okay. Um, I'm going to continue. If anybody has any questions, again, feel free to put them in the chat. Um, let's continue. So I just showed you how to use Gemini for teacher observations. Keep in mind, how can this process be used for other things you can do in your practice as a school leader, other things that, are taking up a lot of time. Okay, so yeah, I just shared this with everybody. And feel free to share in the chat. What ideas do you have right now as I'm showing you this? How do you see yourself using this? Feel free to put it in the chat. Next, gems. Okay, so what are gems? I'm gonna switch back to Gemini. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go here. So gems, these are personalized AI responses. So when you build a gem, you kind of like pre-program it with how you want it to respond. So for example, I built a field trip gem, all right, and then I programmed it. I typed in like, hey, you will only suggest like really exciting field trips when we interact. Um, this is what the gems look like. The best thing is just show you what it does. Okay, so let's just get into it. Okay, I'm clicking on the three dots over here. Oh, it looks blurry. Okay, thank you. I think I'm just gonna do it over here. I'm just gonna do it live. So these three lines at the top left of Gemini, we've referred to them in the past as the hamburger. I'm gonna still call it the hamburger. When you click on the hamburger, you see the recent chats that you've had, so it remembers all of them, and then you have your gems down here. Okay, so you have your gem manager. If I click on gem manager, you have some pre-made gems, and these are the ones I made. So, for example, the field trip planner, if I click on that, actually, if I click on the pencil for the field trip manager, this is what it looks like. You give it a name, and these are the instructions. Okay, so for this particular field trip manager, you are an interactive field trip planning assistant. Your aim is to greet the user, ask for a grade level, and then provide engaging field trip suggestions. All right, so what does this look like in practice? So if I'm clicking on my field trip manager gem, and I know it's a gem because it has like the name right here, so I can say, hi, and then it'll greet me with what I asked it to do. All right. So what grade and what subject? All right. So let's say sixth grade, and then let's say science. And so using the instructions that I pre-programmed in there, it's giving me field trip information, suggestions. All right. So American Museum of Natural History, it's giving me the cost, the description, Hall of Science, etc. Okay. So GEMS are good for tasks that you do over and over again. All right. So if you're in a position where you need to come up with, suggest field trips for people, you would use a gem. Now, building off the last example that we did on teacher observations, I made a teacher observation gem. So what does this look like in the background? If I go to the gem manager, teacher observation, you would click, I'm going to click edit. So these are the instructions. Evaluate low inference notes, use the following domains, 1 through 4, assign a rating, highly effective, and provide specific evidence from the notes. Okay. And then concrete next steps. And then there's information here about the overall tone. All right. So, and then Gemini can help you write this also. So I originally put in these instructions like, hey, you will help me with teacher observations. And then there's like that pencil with the star. That's like become now the universal sign for AI transformation. I clicked that button and it gave me this like very detailed instructions on like teacher observations. So a lot of this, you save a lot of time. Okay, so Gems, let's see it in action. Teacher observation. So I click on that. I'm gonna say hi again, and then okay, it's asking for the low inference notes. I'm gonna click on the plus. I'm gonna upload my files. This time I did middle school or I did high school English. I have more notes here. Middle school math. Again, this was taken from this instructional manual that has like examples of what low inference notes look like. I'm gonna share all these resources with everyone. Um, Here are my notes. Let's see what happens. All right, so I upload my notes. And it did okay. That was quick. That was quick already. So with these particular low inference notes, it said domain one, it's rating it as developing. Again, you want to double, triple check this to make sure that it makes sense. It has the evidence, it has the next steps, and it's going on to domain two. Okay. So if you are in a position where you're writing a lot of teacher observations and you have all your notes already, you can use this, you can create a gem. Okay, I'll share this text with everybody, and then you can test this out yourself. Um, Pretty wild, and it has us all already. So you can just again copy and paste this into the template of your choice. Okay. Um, yeah, let me know how people what people think so far in the chat. Do you think this is relevant to you? Do you think this is something that would help you save time? Um, just so I know. Okay. So let's continue. Okay. All right, Nick, I can always count on you. Okay, good. It was a little quiet in there. And like I'm it's unfortunate that the mics are muted. Okay, good. I feel validated. Thank you so much. Let's continue. Let's continue drinking. Okay, can this gem be created for a principal? Be created for yeah. So anyone with a Gemini account can create a gem. And then I believe we will be able to share these gems in the future. All right. So if you create a gem in your school, you can share this with other leaders. Yeah, yes. All New York City staff, you have access to Gemini. It works very similarly to ChatGPT Plus, yeah, or Grok, yeah. But the main difference, I'm telling you all, ChatGPT, Grok, all these other things, they are using your chats to train their systems. None of it's private. Definitely don't put any personally identifiable information in those tools. However, with Gemini, since it went through the incredibly rigorous security process to be used by every teacher in New York City, your chats are safe. It's not being used to train on anything. It's completely private. So anything that you would have done or that you would do on a Google Doc, OSIS numbers, addresses, what have you, you could do the same thing in Gemini. So safety is one of the main reasons, if not the reason, to use Gemini. All right. So going back to this, I know we have maybe about 15 minutes or so. Um, what gems do you feel free to put it in the chat? What gems do you envision yourself using? Lisa, hello. Thank you for adding in the chat. You will be safe. Yes, yes, yes. Microsoft Copilot as well. Absolutely. Yeah, feel free to put in the chat what kind of gems do you see yourself using. Yeah, sure. I'll go real quickly. How do you make a gem? So first you want to get to Gemini, okay? And that's gemini.google.com. So I'm signed into my demo New York City Schools account. So when you go to gemini.google.com, this screen is considered the Gemini app, okay? And then here on the left, you have your chats, but then at the bottom, you have your gems. And if you wanted to make a gem, you would click on Gem Manager. Actually, this will be fun. Okay. You would click on New Gem. Okay. So let's say Um, okay, let's say lesson plan generator. Okay. You will help me as you will help me create a lesson plan. This is a terrible prompt. Okay, but what I want to do, I want to click on this, use Gemini to rewrite instructions. Okay. So now it's taking my very bad prompt. It's going to suggest how I do this. So it says, okay, assist users in creating comprehensive and effective lesson plans tailored to their specific needs. All of these things. Let's see how it works. Let's save it. Okay, let's start chatting. Okay, lesson plan generator. Hi. Hello, I'm here. Okay, what subject? All right. High school English. Great. How long will this lesson be? 30 minutes. Okay, what do you like to focus on? Particular topic, let's say, you know, Shakespeare. Okay, do you have a specific play? Mid Summer Nights. Y'all get it. I'm gonna continue to spell it incorrectly, but you get it, okay? Okay, for what specific aspect? Let's say simile. Yeah, everybody knows I'm a bad speller. Okay. Okay. See, it's going back and forth. What outcome? All right. You all get it. We're limited on time, but you all get it. Okay, so please feel free. Many teachers here. Yes. Um, Feel free to test out the gems. Okay. I would keep going with that. I just want to make sure I get through this content. I'll come back to it. All right. So, deep research. This is crazy, everyone. This is crazy right over here. Deep research. How does this work? Let me start a new chat. So as we can see, top left, you have your different language models that you can use. Again, this 2.0 Flash, it's really great for most 95% of the things that you're doing. If for some reason you need to have an AI interaction where you need advanced reasoning or complex tasks, you can try these different ones. Deep research, what this will do, this will you propose a question or something that you want to learn, and it will research the internet for you. It will look up like 100 different websites. So something that I tested out, we're all learning how to use AI in the best way. So here, deep research. I am a school leader and want to create an AI policy for my school. Teachers are concerned about students. Here, let me see. Students cheating with AI, period. I want you to research current AI policies in existing schools in New York as well as globally to help me inform our AI policy. Okay, so this is my question. I'm gonna hit enter with making sure that deep research is enabled. And so it's gonna think about my question. Yes. Lisa is also helping with the chat. Lisa, shout out to you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so right now, and I agree with that. Right now, teachers, staff only have access to this tool. I think we should build up our knowledge on this before students officially have access to it. So yes. Okay. So deep research is doing its thing, and it's going to propose a research plan on, okay, so here's a research plan. So we can edit the plan if we want. I know it's very small. I apologize if you can't see it, but it's essentially saying it's going to search the internet for AI policy documents, etc. Okay. And then if I'm cool with it, I'm going to hit start research and it's going to do its thing. I did this already a few days ago, just so you already have, so we can see what it looks like. So it's going to do its thing. I'm going to go into my previous chats. What's cool about this, as it's going, you can see it, quote, thinking. It's going to do an initial policy focus. These are the websites that it's going to search through. But again, I already have this, so let me go through my previous chats. And it's the same question. So this is a previous chat that I had a few days ago. Same thing. I'm a teacher, I'm a school leader in New York City. I want to make an AI policy. It gave me this incredible report in like 5 minutes where it's outlining, look, the K-12 AI policy lab, internal tool development, leadership vision, AI advisory council. All of this information is already living online, but this tool, it went out and it researched it for you. This is insane. Barbara, yes, you can use this to analyze data. I'm not going to have time to get to this, but you could upload spreadsheets and ask it to analyze data and find trends. Yes, it's stay tuned for another PD on that. But as I scroll down, these are the different aspects of the report. An amazing report. I'm going to scroll all the way down just to give people, what is this? Policy model. Okay, I'm going to go all the way to the bottom because, oh, where is it? It showed me all of the different resources. Here we go. Okay, look at this. Oops. These, all of these are different websites that were examined, important pieces were taken out and put it into this research report. There's like 100 websites on here. How long would have take this would have taken me days just to visit all these websites. I would have a million tabs open as I usually do, and I would have to go through all these. All right, NEA.org, edsafe.org, govtech.com, AIEDU, Oregon.gov. It took all of these websites and compiled this amazing AI report. And I can export it to docs. I can share it with my team. We can go through it, and then we can use this to help us draft our own AI policy. It's insane. 10 minutes left. Let's continue drinking from the fire hose. Deep research, folks, try it out. Um, yeah, it's and like even like personal things. Like I was like researching like different places to move, and I was using deep research to help me analyze like what's the likelihood of flooding within the next 10 years in like these areas. You can use this to help with research like, buying a car or like anything. Curriculum, what kind of curriculum should we adopt or move to? So deep research, folks, you got play with this. Please just play with it. It's really an amazing research tool. Dissertations, yes, probably. Um, so Notebook LM, this thing's amazing also. So okay, so Gemini takes information from the internet and will give you a response based on what you asked. All right. So Gemini is going out, getting things, and bringing it to you. Notebook LM is different. Notebook LM, you import your own documents into it. So let's say you have like a very detailed report and you only want information from this one thing. You would import that into Notebook LM, and now you have the power of a chatbot to only, when you ask it a question, it's only pulling from that resource or specific resources. All right, so there's information on here. Again, added data protection. It's not being used to train the models. It's all safe. I'm going to share this slide deck with everybody as well as recording. Don't worry about it. But yeah, how it works, you upload your sources, and it could be a website, slides, files from your Google Docs, and then you start chatting with it. And then you can create these audio overviews. Insane. Okay, let's try this out here. Okay, so how do you get to Notebook LM? The website is notebooklm.google.com. I'll put it in the chat if folks wanna play with it. So again, you you should be logged into your at schools account to access this, because through your at schools New York City accounts, you are using the Gemini and Notebook LM where it's safe. None of this information is being like shared or like trained. Okay, so here I am in Notebook LM, and these are the different notebooks I made. So here's an example. I work with this large middle school in Queens, MS 217, doing amazing work with AI. They have this beast of a weekly newsletter. It's like 50 pages, and people read it every week, obviously. But I was like, man, let me upload this 50-page weekly document into a notebook, and what can we do with it? So there's one source in here, the weekly. If I type in, what are the top 3 themes? I hit enter. It's gonna go through this document, and it's going to give me that answer. It's going to give me the top 3 themes. And in addition to giving me this response, it's also going to give me citations. So here, based on the sources provided, one source, 3 themes: upcoming state exams, internal focus and student learning, school operations and culture. And again, as I said, and I apologize if it's small to see, there are different citations. So when I click on these little numbers, it brings me where in the document, in this huge document, this citation is being pulled from. And in addition to that, and I hope the audio is working, it'll create a podcast that summarizes everything in here. Okay, so Common Sense, an amazing resource for media literacy and everything. They recently put out a report on how AI is affecting students. I uploaded that PDF here so I can ask it questions, but let's see what this podcast sounds like. I'm gonna hit play.
Welcome to the deep dive. So, generative
Um,
AI, it
Let me
seems
know if you
like
can
it
hear it.
just showed up almost overnight, right?
It really does feel that way.
And it's everywhere in teenagers' lives now. At home, definitely at school.
Uh-huh.
We're seeing this like dawn of the AI era, and the big question is, how is this fundamentally changing things for young people? You know, how they learn, how they interact.
Significant. 11% daily, 13% several times a week, and 27% a few times a month or less. So yeah, it's definitely moving beyond just playing around with it for many teens.
Okay. First of all, that sounds like two real human beings. That podcast, that summary was generated in like 5 minutes. It took this like lengthy, very important research report, and it created this podcast that you can listen to on the drive to work, on the train ride home. And you can do this with anything. your student handbook, if you wanted to turn this into a podcast and share with your staff, or you want, like somebody mentioned in the chat, comparing two different documents, you can put whatever documents you want in here and then start comparing them. So this also, I think, particularly for school leaders and administrators, Notebook LM is a game changer in terms of how we can analyze work and how we can, gain deeper insights for this. Play around with it. Yes, thank you. Mind blowing, right? It's mind blowing. Just like one more thing. So like I took that deep research report on an AI policy, I exported as a Google Doc, and then I imported into Notebook LM. So now I took that deep research report that examined 100 different websites. Now I have a podcast on it that I can listen to, kind of lengthy, 25 minutes. At the same time, that's still shorter than going to 100 different websites and compiling a report. I can listen to this, on the treadmill, and I can invite my other, colleagues into this. We can ask it questions. Look, here you have suggested questions at the bottom. This is a great question. What core principles should guide AI policy to ensure equitable and ethical implementation for all students? I'm curious to see what it says. So right now it's scouring the deep research report and the common sense media. Um, I'll let it do its, okay. Okay, number one, human-centered approach. We'll leave it at that. Human-centered approach, and then you have your citations on there if you wanted to, focus deeper on that. All right, but I love that. Human-centered approach. Right. Let me switch back to my slide deck. 3 minutes left. We can do this, everybody. All right. So there are so many ways to use Notebook LM. This is an exciting time. I just demoed Notebook LM for everybody. There's another thing on here, discover sources. This is like a hidden thing. Okay, so let's say you're at Notebook LM, you create a new notebook. There's something that says discover sources at the top. If I click on this at the top, what are you interested in? Again, if I say AI policy for K-12 schools, it's going to suggest resources online that we could put into this notebook. So look, that was so quick. Look, Washington State guidance, AI policy from this district. So I can, right now it's selected all by default. I can choose individual ones. All right. But like that's amazing. So again, if you make a new notebook, you would, it's here at the top. It's kind of hidden, discover sources. But I learned about that the other day. So, okay, we went over a lot of things. If you feel inclined, if you caught your breath, feel free to share how you envision using Notebook LM. Lisa's sharing some information. Schools make a podcast of their school website. That's cool. That's really cool. Um, there's some free AI classes online, self-paced, that I'll share with everybody if your teachers are interested in it. There's a brand new AI course. Again, I'll share this with everybody. But oh, you know what? There's there's an extra slide that I had on here. So during the keynote this morning, Superintendent Pryor, he had a realization during COVID that tools needed to be accompanied by humanity, shifting the focus to student wellness, to students' well-being and emotions. All right. So that was the main takeaway that I got from his keynote. And I'm showing you all these things to save time. All like this is a very technical PD, but I want us to take a step back and keep in mind, yes, these things can save time, but now the question is, what do we do with that time that we save? When I work with teachers, when folks on my team support other schools, yes, we focus on the time saving, but we also want to ask folks like, what are you doing with that time? It is an opportunity to build with our students, build with our community, build with our other colleagues to get back to this idea of humanity. I think after the pandemic, I think we all realize how important it is to connect with one another. And it's easy to get lost in the sauce, especially with AI and everything. So let's keep that in mind. These things can save time. Let's be mindful of how we use this time, and hopefully we can use it to connect with each other again. Thanks, everybody. My name is Santi Karasami. That's my email address. I would love to have our company partner with your school in terms of, leveraging AI for teaching and learning, continuing finding cool ways to use these tools. Again, we are the main PD partner to, help Google for Education and New York City Public Schools roll out this huge initiative. There's going to be a lot of sessions coming up. There's going to be a big event coming up a lot of things, a lot of cool stuff happening. So I ended right on time. Thank you so much. I'm gonna hang around if anybody has any questions. Feel free to put in the chat. Any questions, I'm here. Please send me an email. If you have any, if you want to partner during summer school, if you have any funding there or any opportunities there, please reach out. A lot of opportunities for really cool projects. So thank you so much. And yeah, I'll be here if anybody has any questions. Thank you. Deep research. Okay, Laura. First of all, Laura, good to hear from you. Does it pull from research from Deep Scho or Google Scholar? I'm not sure. I don't know. It might actually, because deep research just like scours the internet for answers related to your, to your prompt. So I would imagine if something's online, then it's up for grabs for deep research. All right. So I'm gonna do my best to answer some of the questions here. Okay, how can you get access to the free AI courses? No problem. I'll throw the link in the chat here. Um, I met the guy from Google who made these resources and it was pretty cool. All right, so I'm gonna put one in the chat. So this one, oh, that one's not a link. Hold on, folks. Whoops. I'm just gonna put the hard link in there. Okay, so this course is brand new. This came out like March 19th. This is all about how to use specific Google AI tools. So Gemini Notebook LM. There's another one too. Generative AI for educators, Google course. I've led sessions on this before. In addition to people from my team have led sessions on this. This is more general. So okay, I just put two links in the chat. They're both free self-paced online courses where you get a certificate at the end. The first one focuses specifically on Google AI tools, right? So this one, Gemini Notebook LM. This one, Generative AI for Educators, it's AI tool agnostic, meaning it covers just like general AI best practices that you can use for anything. Gemini, ChatGPT, whatever, Magic School, whatever. They both are great. I recommend both. You can, I think it takes like what, 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours or less to complete. So try those. Okay. Um, any cheat sheets? I'll email out some things. There's really no you just experiment with these things. There's no cheat sheet. This is all going to save you time. In a sense, this could be like a cheat sheet. Thank you everybody for joining us. Thinking about podcasts help students understand dense text. Yes, for the people that are still here, Google just enabled in the settings in Notebook, output language. You can choose the different language of these AI overviews, these podcasts, all these different languages. So that podcast by default's English, but you can do Spanish, everything here. Filipino for my aunt. Indonesia, Latin, everything in there. All these different languages you can configure. That I just saw that the other day. All right. Cool. So thanks everybody. Please enjoy the rest of your virtual summit. If you have questions, I'll hang around for a little bit. Otherwise, thank you. Thank you so much.
Santi, that was great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the other 2 cycles I know you're going to be doing for us in May and June. So
Yes. Katia, thank you so much for your help with the chat. I appreciate it.
oh, my pleasure.
Okay, let's stop recording. Oops. Okay. All right. So I stopped the recording.